All right. So, as was promised at the end of the just most recent recording, I said that Manny and I were going to come back and try to do a little joint special for you guys since the podcast platform failed us in being able to do this jointly. Or whatever the reason was, we were not able to have buddy time on camera. So, Manny, I'm going to pass the stage to you for you to give an explanation, some background, some details as to what we will be doing for the next 10, 15 minutes.
Look at the box scores.
Box scores in bourbon.
We check each other's box scores and scores online.
Baseball, box scores.
So football, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey.
Box scores in bourbon.
All right, so as we probably JB had mentioned in the episode as I was trying to irregularly jump in, we like bringing storylines and having topics of conversation. And I have prepared 5 storylines for JB and I to analyze, and JB has not preemptively been prepared for this conversation. So I'm going to not rapid fire him, but I'm going to go one by one, ask him how he feels about certain storyline, and then we'll have a conversation about it, and then we'll move on to our 5 storylines. And in this case, it's going to be 5 MLB storylines. So, JB, are you ready with your first MLB storyline that we're going to be discussing?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. Let's kick it off with the first one. Couple of these, considering MLB All-Star Weekend is right here. It's here. A couple of them are going to be referencing the All-Star break. So, number 1, the robot umpire making its debut during the All-Star game. How do you feel about the test drive of the robot umpiring for the All-Star game?
Honestly, I don't have a problem with the test run for it. We all know it's coming. I wouldn't call myself a baseball purist, but I am a guy who enjoys the game as it was created to be played, as it was designed to be played. And one of the things that baseball has wasn't designed this way. It is just it is a flaw of the game, is human error. Now, human error is always going to happen, which is why people threw a fit when we had the challenge system in MLB. Now everyone's like, oh, why don't they challenge it? Oh, well, go back to the booth, look at it. Let's do the headphones. Come on. No, none of this.
Another one.
So, and then we all lost our minds when we put a pitch clock in the game, which honestly makes the game go by quicker. And, look, we all have a life. I love watching 4.5-hour baseball games. I love it. If there's one thing I think we should get rid of, it is the free runner in extra innings. I hate that. I absolutely think it is just absolutely bonkers that you were going to cheat a fan from extra innings of baseball. Like, there's nothing what's better than 9 innings? Extra innings. So give me as many extra innings as possible. I'm at the game. I'm not leaving till it's done. Give me this.
Well, that's
so
but with the not leaving. But I know where you're coming from. Like it's cheating the base because part of the challenge is getting a runner in scoring position. That is a goal in extra innings.
All that to say, with the changes happening in the game, I know everything is constantly evolving. If you're not evolving, then you're not growing. If you're not growing, you're not moving. If you're not moving, you're dying. Okay, so I get that. Whatever. Yeah. So, but with the robot umpire, I don't have an issue with it in regards to the All-Star game because the All-Star game means nothing.
Right.
So it's absolute, just like. Whatever time, I'd rather have a robot pitcher pitching the home run derby. That would be awesome.
That would be
so. But for the time being, we have robot umpires. We'll have a robo ump for the All-Star game. Which sadly, if people aren't aware, it is not an actual robot. It's not a life-size robot that's out there. Okay, This is not a life-size Scarlett Johansson robot to get Joaquin Phoenix excited again all over. So this is just a regular robot system.
It's just another way for you to challenge the pitch.
It's just a layer to help keep the human ump accountable to his more susceptibly bad decisions.
Yeah. I'm ready for the robot umpiring or for the challenge system with the automatic strike detection system. I've been watching some awful strikes, some inconsistency in calls being made this season that it's just been stressful to me. What I'm not too happy about with the whole announcement of the robot umpiring for the All-Star game is why are we still treating this as if it's going to be a trial? Are we really at the point where we still are not sure that MLB is going to implement this full-time next season? As a common fan, you are the deep fan. I am more of a common fan of baseball. As a common fan, I think this is a very good thing for baseball. And it just stop questioning the fact that it needs to be implemented. Minor leagues is doing it, and it is working great for them. In my opinion, it's working great for the it doesn't even slow down the game that much because it honestly does take 3 to 5 seconds to get the review and you move on with the game. But just having that as a backup for the accuracy factor when a pitcher, a catcher, or the batter can easily tell that a strike or a pitch was miscalled and it takes 5 seconds to get it right. I'm all for it. So I love the fact that they're trying it in the All-Star break just to maybe sell the fans and sell the teams a little bit more. But stop acting like it's going to be a trial and just say we're going to implement this, so we're going to do a soft launch at the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, no, I got no problem with it. In the All-Star game, especially when the All-Star game means nothing. Next question.
Next, your favorite hobby in the All-Star break, the home run derby. The participants are locked in. And as of an hour ago, the final participant have locked in their place. And that will be Jazz Chisholm. So that will round up the participants to be Acuna, Cal Riley, James Wood, Byron Buxton, O'Neal Cruz, Junior Caminero, and Brent Rooker. How do you feel about the combination of new faces and tenured faces of household names and new faces joining the home run derby?
First of all, for all the people giving us flack for how we pronounce Cal Raleigh's name, okay?
Yeah.
All right?
Cal Raleigh.
Cal Raleigh, all right?
I'm sorry.
All right? Cal Raleigh. Raleigh, North Carolina, all right? Cal Raleigh. Anyway, I love this list. I love that this list features no traditional real thumpers. This is I don't know if any of these guys ever been in it before.
I don't think so. Based off of what I was looking at, I think all of them are first timers.
Yeah. Okay, no, Acuna. This is Acuna's third time. I thought so. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is Acuna's third time in the home run derby, and I thought that was true. Okay. Yeah. I gotta tell you, the one player I'm most excited to see is Junior Caminero. Okay. I don't know if you saw the Dominican Championship game back in what was it, January? But it was a 5-5 game in the ninth, and then Junior Caminero comes up and just hits an absolute no doubter for Leonis, and he must have trotted. He must have stood at home plate for 30 seconds before he even took a step toward first. It probably took at least, I don't know how clocks work in the Dominican Republic. I don't know if the exchange rate makes time longer. I don't know, but in American time, it took probably 5 minutes for him to round the bags after he hit that homer. Imagine if this kid wins the home run derby.
Oh yeah.
Imagine. I'm just like and the fact that you have Acuna for the third time, but you got Byron Buxton, who's no slouch when it comes to the power department. Jazz Chisholm, who's got one of the sweetest swings I've ever seen. O'Neal Cruz, who's just going to hit. They call him Cruise Missile for a reason. This dude's going to smoke some balls. You got Big Dumper out there, who's just going to like dump, trophies on a bunch of fans. Brent Rooker, who if he wasn't playing for the A's, people probably still wouldn't know about him.
Mm-hmm.
But Brent Rooker, coming up through the Twin system, never getting a chance, and he's just Mr. Moneyballs over there in Sacramento now. And then James Wood, who's the underlooked Rookie of the Year candidate for the Nationals because, he plays for the Nationals. Mm-hmm. So, this is I am not, just giving lip service when I say this. I have not been more excited to watch the home run derby than I have in several years.
And I love the fact that there's some teams that most fans they don't have that team on their radar, like the Rays, the Pirates, the A's. fan is how are the A's doing? For obvious reasons, the Pirates besides Skeens, you don't really keep tabs on the Pirates. But there's some lower hierarchy teams that are on being represented in the home run derby. I'm excited for two of these players. Rooker, because of what you mentioned, I'm hoping that he brings some relevance to the A's, and Jazz Chisholm. Now, Jazz Chisholm, I'm not just saying I'm excited for him because he's a Yankee, but I'm excited to see him in the home run derby because I've seen the type of batter that he is. If he starts off rough, he's going to have a long, quote-unquote, tournament because he struggles to get out of a slump whenever he's batting rough. He's gotten 0 for 5 in a game because he just can't find the sweet spot for the ball. But if he is seeing the ball well, he can hit some really deep line drive home runs. So I'm gonna be curious to see how he plays the first round because I think that's gonna dictate if he makes it past the first round, the type of performance that he's gonna put on for the home run derby. So I'm excited for those two players. Now, moving on to some other storylines, there is a story. Some rumors going around that the Diamondbacks are facing the reality that they most likely are going to be sellers at the trade deadline, mostly because of the fact that they are facing a high amount of injuries in their lineup. How do you feel about the Diamondbacks being sellers come the trade deadline?
As much as I would love to see Arizona make a comeback here, they're only 4.5 out of the last wild card, but the teams ahead of them are the Giants. And this is just for the last wild card. The Giants, the Padres, the Cardinals, the Reds. Okay, we got that out of the way. Out of those 4 teams, the only 2 teams who I see as actual threats to Arizona not making the wild card for that third spot are both the Cardinals and the Reds. I don't see the Cardinals continuing this. I think at some point the Cardinals have to face reality and say, look, we're probably not going to make the wild card. Let's just sell the pieces that we have. This is the best shot for us to get something for Helsley and for Gray and for Arenado. Let's just sell these pieces, and hell, maybe they find someone to take at albatross of a contract that's called Wilson Contreras. So, and then for first and second, wild card positions, you got Milwaukee and the Mets. So for that third wild card spot, it's really just 3 AL West teams. Out of those 3 teams, the Giants, I believe, are still. I don't believe in what the Giants are doing. I think they are outperforming their peripherals. The Padres are the Padres. They are definitely outperforming their peripherals. The only one that seems to be on par and underperforming by one game is Arizona. Now, Arizona's got way too much. Zach Gallen, who's in a walk year, has been pitching lights out. Merrill Kelly, not a sexy name, but he's been pitching absolutely balls out, for Merrill Kelly stats. You still got Corbin Carroll. Mm-hmm. You got Eugenio Suarez.
Corbin Carroll's one of the key players that's hurt.
Yeah. So this is a team that is loaded and is stacked and can absolutely make a run in order for that to make the playoffs. Do I think Arizona sells at the deadline? I do not. I don't think so because they have been turning it on lately. They are 5-5 in their last 10, which is a marked improvement to what they have been doing the 6 weeks ago when they really just absolutely took a nosedive in the standings when they seemed to be the ones that were really going to go tit for tat with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So now with the Dodgers having their 6-game losing streak, so if you look at Arizona, they're 9.5 out of first place. But again, only 4.5 out of the final wild card. There are 4 teams in front of them for that. And I've already laid out that 2 of those teams are posers, and that's the Cardinals and the Reds. Mm-hmm. The Cardinals more so than the Reds, I think. But if Arizona can go on a little bit of a heater, if they can go on a heater before the All-Star break, if they can get to 3 games above 500, I absolutely see Arizona staying put. I don't see them selling. I see Arizona trying to make a run to get the playoffs because I guarantee you, if the Diamondbacks make the playoffs and this team is healthy, there is no team that's going to be smart in their own minds to say, oh, let's go take care of Arizona. That's not going to happen. Yeah. It's just not.
Would you say you would be disappointed if they start selling?
I wouldn't be disappointed because they have, like I said, you can get a lot for Zach Gallen and for Merrill Kelly. And I would even argue that if you traded Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen this All-Star or at this trade deadline, you could arguably bring in some pieces that could help you now. That could help you kind of still get over that hump. So I'm looking over their starting rotation right now. So Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, okay. You got Brandon Pfaadt, okay, awesome. He's not pitching great at all. And then you got, of course, Eduardo Rodriguez, who they paid oodles of money for, who has not been playing well. And then, of course, Brandon Pfaadt has not been playing well either. So, but honestly, the lone guy in that rotation outside of Gallen and Kelly is Ryan Nelson, who is only 27. He's actually pitching really well according to his peripherals. I mean, his whip is below 1, which is always a good sign that you are a controlled baseball player. You have control over that ball. You're not walking guys. You're not giving up hits, which also means you're not leaving guys on base. You're not stranding them. So if for some reason they get to trade deadline and they say, okay, if anything else, we'll trade Merrill Kelly. Okay, trade Merrill Kelly. I think that's okay. You can replace his production with like another number 5 starter who can come in there and be able to kind of produce better than, because there are some indications that maybe Merrill Kelly is going to regress. So maybe you mark him off and sell him at his highest point to be able to bring in something. But I absolutely see this Diamondback team as being a team that should not be messed with. Mm-hmm. And so there's just way too much talent on this team and too much potential for them to actually make a run. They did it in 23.
Yeah,
and they came just shy of winning the. I mean, they were the second team that was last standing to the Rangers. Rangers were the Destiny team that year, but the D-backs absolutely went on a run. Yep. So
So you're sticking with TBD at the All-Star break to see what they should do. If they end on a high note, they're good.
Mm-hmm.
If not, if they don't, then maybe not so much, and maybe sell some.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
They absolutely have to add. They have to add. If they're going to want to make a deep run, they have to add. But I don't know what they're going to give up in order to add.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. Yeah. So moving on, we'll make this a little bit more of a rapid fire one. The trade deadline upon us. There is 4 teams that are rumored or expected to be high buyers. Talking about the trade deadline, high buyers once the trade deadline comes around. The Yankees, the Dodgers, your Cubs, which I'll have know, in case you missed it, are 1 game behind the Dodgers for first place.
Oh yeah, they are.
And the Tigers. Out of those 4 teams, Yankees, Dodgers, Cubs, and Tigers, which team do you think would be the highest buyer, like the one that has the most action?
The most aggressive buyer?
Yes.
The Cubs. I think it's absolutely going to be the Cubs. This team is not only outperforming what their projections were in the offseason based on Pacoda and Fangraphs and Baseball Reference. They have a very good shot to winning 97 to 100 games this year. But this roster is actually primed for Jed and Carter to be aggressive at the trade deadline, because for one factor and one factor only, you have Kyle Tucker guaranteed only for this season. If you want a real shot at not only winning the World Series, but showing Kyle Tucker, hey, this is where you want to be, you best well be aggressive as hell to bring in a number 1 starter, a controllable number 1 starter. Because if you're going to give up that outfield talent in AAA without the guarantee that Kyle Tucker is staying beyond this season, I want controllable number 1 ace starter. That's what I want. I want a third baseman. I love Matt Shaw's defense at third, but his problem, just like it was in the minors, his ISO was so low. Matt Shaw did so much to change his offensive game to not strike out nearly as much, to get that strikeout rate down, that he sacrificed his power for it. And so now he's doing everything he can to make contact, but it's the wrong type of contact. We need a third baseman, and the aforementioned Diamondbacks, I wouldn't mind having Cub Killer Eugenio Suarez on our side, as opposed to facing him every time, and he clocks 8 homers in a 3-game series every effing time he plays us. And I would rather him be with us in the playoffs if we play the Diamondbacks, as opposed to losing to Eugenio Suarez in the playoffs because we didn't go get him. So we need a third baseman. We need a controllable number 1 starter, and we need a lockdown reliever. I have every ounce of faith in Daniel Palencia. I think the Andrew Chafin trade to the A's in 2021 at that deadline, we all talk about how we got how we got PCA for Javi Baez, and how we got Kelvin Alcantara for Anthony Rizzo. But there's not enough said for the fact that we got Daniel Palencia, this kid who throws just sweet chin music. Oh, it's gorgeous. And just how much he loves this game. We got him for Andrew Chafin, straight up from the A's at the 21 deadline, and no one talks about that. And so we already have Brad Keller, who is doing fantastic work at the back end of that bullpen. Ryan Presley has finally figured it out. Ryan Brazier is having a quietly great year in the bullpen. And Drew Pomeranz, they're going to make a Disney story out of him if he keeps pitching the way he is. But if we can get a lockdown reliever, and honestly, look, you're going to call me crazy. You might not. Maybe you will. I think we call Boston and say, give us Aroldis Chapman. We want Chapman back. Chapman, I know he is old as dirt. I get it, but this dude if he's not in a high leverage situation, he can absolutely still spit absolute fireballs at you. And he's doing it. I think he's 37 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's the breast milk. I don't know. But he is absolutely just like unleashing hell on hitters still.
Yeah.
And like, bring him back. Bring him back. And we need someone who can hit left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
We need someone who can hit left-handed pitching is what we need. Either that or give Michael Busch the longest leash that you can. The longest leash. Because we need bench players who can hit left-handed pitching and can play both like as versatile as possible. We need a number one controllable starter. We need a third baseman, and we need a lockdown reliever in order to solidify the back end of that Cub bullpen. But that Cub bench is absolutely atrocious. We need to fill it. Brujan is not cutting it. Birdie is not cutting it. Justin Turner, for as much as I love what he brings to a clubhouse, he's a clubhouse guy. He's just not cutting it. He was cutting it at the beginning of the season when it came to clutch. It's just not happening anymore. He needs to go. Birdie needs to go. Brujan needs to go. And we need to be able to bring in some players to help this bench succeed when we need to give players days off. Now, with that, and I'll wait for Manny to get back. With that, I wouldn't mind at all if for some reason, okay, so Matt Shaw coming out of he went to Maryland, I believe it was. He was of course a middle infielder. He could absolutely back up Dansby for a day off, Nico for a day off, and not sacrifice the glove whatsoever. Still hit him ninth, get him his at-bats. It's a long season. I think there's a way that you can bring in a third baseman and still have Matt Shaw at the major league level and sit him on the bench. But you can absolutely just bring in two more bench players to be able to complement the rest of this team.
You know what I think? I think this is gonna go come when we get closer to the trade deadline, which I think this year it's the July 21st, right?
July 31st.
The way I see this happening, the Yankees have already said that they're gonna be buyers. They already said they're gonna go chase down a pitcher or whatever not. But if that starts happening, and then if the Cubs see that the Dodgers start buying a couple pieces, considering where they are in the rankings, I feel like they're going to say their view is going to be, we're right there. If they're going to make moves, we need to make a couple moves too. And then they're going to start trying to leapfrog the Dodgers and what they do in trades, just to make sure that if they're not going to leapfrog them in as far as skill level, at the least, they're going to try keeping up with the Dodgers to make sure that they can stay within that shooting range of first place, second place. Because if you're right next to the Dodgers come playoff time, you're in a pretty good position where you can feel like you can compete for the World Series. So I think that will be the effect. The Cubs probably, like you said, will make a couple moves, but if they start seeing the Dodgers really be aggressive about the moves that they're making, I think the Cubs will ramp it up even more to try bringing in more, to be a little bit more aggressive about it.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, I'm sure you hope so. Our last storyline of the segment. It was announced that the MLB attendance has surged this year, 2025. It has bounced back from the post-pandemic dips. JB, my question to you is there a factor to this? Is there a reality to this? Is it a sustainable thing, or is it more of a hiccup to, okay, well, pandemic times were low, now we're getting back to neutral? Or is there an actual surge based off of the players, the teams that you see being competitive? Is there a true surge in the attendance and the fan base and the attraction to MLB this season?
I honestly think it has to do with the attraction to not just MLB, but the players. So we talk about generational players. In every generation they have, such and such, and you have your 5 players and whatever. But you can go across every single squad, and you can bring up at least half of the teams. You can bring up a young player who's just so exciting. So even on the bad teams, the Pirates, you have Paul Skeens. On the Reds, you have Ellie De La Cruz. I mean, the Pirates have Paul Skeens and O'Neill Cruz. You have Ellie De La Cruz on the Reds. Yep. You have Corbin Carroll on the Diamondbacks. Fernando Tatis is still not he's not a schlub at all. Playing for the Padres. You have the Martian for the Yankees. You have Julio Rodriguez for the Mariners. You have exciting young players everywhere. The Astros have Hunter Brown, who is good. Might as well just give him the Cy Young Award for AL for the next 5 years, because I don't see this stopping at all. You have phenomenal ball players, and it seems as if this is part of that ebb and flow of baseball, where you're like, okay, well, who's here, who's not here. I mean, we are in a time where, you can look left or right and find a great young ball player just anywhere. Even look at this list of, we talked about the home run derby. Acuna for the Braves. You got Caminero for the Rays. We talked about O'Neill Cruz. Cal Raleigh, North Carolina, for the paired with J-Rod in Seattle. The A's have Jacob Wilson. Jacob Wilson is he's not in the home run derby, but Jacob Wilson is just a great story. He's like another Luis Arias. The way he's hitting and not striking out, just getting on base. And you got James Wood and C.J. Abrams for the Nationals. It's an exciting time to watch baseball. We had there's so much young talent anywhere you look, and it's for every fan base.
Yeah.
Now the only thing that would halt this surge in attendance is if the powers the powers that be for MLB decide to be so incredibly stupid and have a long-term lockout after next season, and then ruin this entire momentum. This is a great thing for Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And it's and there are absolutely changes that need to be made when it comes to the front office not front office structure, when it comes to contract structure, when it comes to free agency structure, when it comes to small ownership, small market clubs having a floor when it comes to spending. And I think this surge in attendance actually bodes well for the argument for a floor for small market teams. Imagine Paul Skeens and O'Neill Cruz on a Pirates team that actually spent money and brought guys in.
Yep.
Imagine this. And it's one of those things where, okay, well, maybe if we spend another 20-30 million a year, we can bring in a couple more pieces and actually be a viable wild card team. We already have a bunch of pieces in here. So yeah, I love that the attendance rate is up. I love seeing fans come out to baseball. I love that this, the great flu season of 2020 didn't really take away people's desire and drive to want to go see baseball. But I think a big drive behind this are the players that are playing the game and the caliber of these young guys that are still playing.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think you could look across the entire league and find at least one so household name for every team that some fans will be like, yeah, I know this player here and this player there. Whether I don't know the full roster and I don't know what that team is doing, I recognize that name. And that, I think, ties perfectly into your monologue at the beginning of the episode where you're talking about the lockout. This type of situation is going to carry so much weight for what the players are trying to get, because their leverage is going to be, well, this league is becoming a players' league. You really want to squash that at this moment where the fan base is latching on to players and you want to completely make that come to a screeching halt, I think it's going to bode well for whatever negotiations are happening right now, especially, like you said, this home run derby seems different than a lot of other home run derbies because of the names that are in there. The mix of the tenured players like the Acuna and the Chisholm players and the new era players. If one of those young first timers wins the home run derby and people start watching those type of players, it's going to bode so well for the league as a whole going into September. I would think if one of them wins, it's going to organically cause a spike in the viewership come September, October, the race to October. But talking about the negotiations, it's going to be a stamp. If one of those young players like wins the home run derby and there's a high viewership for those players in the home run derby, it's going to be a stamp of, okay, this is now a players league. You don't want to ruin what is happening with the league because fans are latching onto the players. And if you really want to bank on its, the mantra they always say, like, nobody's bigger than the shield of the league. Like, this is going to be the crossroads where they're going to be able to say, are you sure about that? Are you sure that this is not players first, the team second?
Yeah.
And it's going to give the Players Association so much leverage for what negotiations they're going to have coming up in their next bargaining agreement.
Yeah. And to put it just in another way, you look at the 8 contestants in the home run derby, only 3 of these players, only 3 teams that are viable playoff teams are represented.
Mm-hmm.
The other 5 will not make the playoffs this year.
Right.
The Braves won't, the Twins won't, the Pirates won't, the A's won't, the Nationals won't. And they all have a representative in the home run derby. And like I said already, this is arguably like the most, inarguably, the most excited I am to watch a home run derby than I have been in years.
Yep.
To watch these players just mash baseballs.
Yep.
On the biggest stage.
Yep.
To do it. And only 3 legit teams for the playoffs are represented.
Yep, exactly.
That's how well-rounded the talent is in this league.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you. Out of all the seasons for the All-Star break, usually I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, especially the home run derby, you get some high-figure names and you get some, like, no disrespect to the names, but like no namers, and it pretty much balances out. This year seems like the year where it's going to be pretty equal across the board, and I would have to agree with you that I'm a little more excited than usual about the contestants and how the home run derby is going to go this year.
Yeah.
And that does it. That is our storylines for this week. Our 5 storylines in MLB.
Awesome. Yep, and this would have finished out the whole episode.
There you go.
We were able, if the platform that will remain nameless would have allowed us to do it effectively.
We still made it work. We still give the fans what they want.
We did. Yes. Awesome. Well, guys, this does it for this episode. Follow us on full-length episodes, audio and video on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. Like us, leave a review. It helps. It does. I don't know how the numbers work or how. I'm not a mathologist, but I'm told it helps. And then we have that's Box Scores and Bourbon. We have additional content on TikTok, X, and Instagram at BSB Sports 24. Give us a follow. Give us a like. Shoot us a message across those platforms. And until next time, folks, stay thirsty.
Cheers, everyone.